Why is incontinence after 50 so difficult to treat? Maybe it's being treated the wrong way. Have you ever considered that incontinence might actually be a misdiagnosis, and in reality, it's a side effect of medication or a symptom of another condition you're unaware of? What if age-related incontinence doesn't actually exist, and it's just an excuse doctors use? So how can you get rid of the problem? In this video, we'll reveal the secrets to overcoming incontinence, offer effective solutions, and share natural remedies that have helped people stop using incontinence pads and expensive medications. Today you'll learn, why don't Kegel exercises work? What should you avoid doing if you have incontinence? Which bladder irritants are sitting on your desk right now? Where is the special acupressure point for leaks in Chinese medicine? What can you do to say goodbye to incontinence? When is it too late to treat incontinence with folk remedies? And when can incontinence actually be a good thing? Does age-related incontinence really exist, or is it just a doctor's excuse? How many women around you suffer from urinary incontinence but never talk about it? You wouldn't believe it, every second woman. But the good news is that there are quick and easy ways to restore proper function of the urinary system. Watch this video to the end and find out how. Today we've invited an expert who will not only share advice with you, but also warn about the #1 mistake that prevents people from overcoming incontinence and actually makes it work. I know you want the solutions and remedies right away, but first, we need to understand the causes. Why does incontinence happen? Because understanding what's going on in your body is essential for effective treatment. Urinary incontinence is like a leaky faucet that drips no matter how hard you try to shut it off. Sometimes the mechanisms that control the flow stop working properly. There are many causes, from weakened pelvic floor muscles to chronic conditions. Leaks can result from prostate problems in men, hormonal changes in women, and even being overweight. Incontinence is especially common in older adults, as the body becomes more vulnerable with age. So why does this happen? Let's ask a doctor who has years of experience treating incontinence in older adults. Meet gynecologist Dr. Natalia Valeryevna Gorbatenko. Urinary incontinence is not always caused solely by age. Of course, its frequency increases in older adults. However, when we talk about stress incontinence, which occurs in response to increased intra-abdominal pressure, such as during sneezing, coughing, physical activity, or lifting heavy objects, this type of incontinence can happen at any age. It depends on genetic predisposition, the number of vaginal births. It depends on genetic predisposition, the number of vaginal births, the weight of the babies delivered, and the woman's own weight. Excess weight and obesity significantly increase the risk of urinary incontinence. Incontinence in old age is normal, that age-related changes are inevitable, and that all muscles, including the bladder, weaken over time. But here's the real question: can something be done about it? If you searched for answers online, you probably came across folk medicine solutions, like herbal infusions made from chamomile or St. John's wort, which are said to reduce inflammation and support urinary health. I'll tell you more about how to prepare and use these natural remedies a bit later. But first, let's figure out whether this kind of treatment is right for you. Incontinence in older adults can present in different forms. There are 4 main types. The first type is overflow incontinence, when urine leaks because the bladder is too full. The second type is urge incontinence, when a sudden, strong urge to urinate appears and the person can't reach the bathroom in time. The third type is stress incontinence, when leakage happens during laughter, coughing, sneezing, or physical activity. You tense up and, oops. The fourth type occurs due to external triggers. For example, the sound of running water, a sudden scare, or other stimuli. Often a person may experience a mix of different types of incontinence, such as both urge and stress incontinence. Does that mean each type requires its own treatment and approach? To answer that, we need to understand how the process works. What exactly causes incontinence? Here's how it works. First, the bladder muscles contract to push urine into the urethra. Then the urethral muscles must relax, allowing urine to flow out. We already know that after age 60, the aging process accelerates. The muscles that help control urination lose strength and elasticity. Pressure in the urethra becomes lower than the pressure in the areas above it. Urine begins to leak involuntarily, even with a slight increase in abdominal pressure. Constipation can also affect bladder control. And if you've had head or spinal injuries, Parkinson's disease, a stroke, surgeries, abortions, or difficult childbirth, all of these can also cause incontinence. Infections of the urinary system and diabetes can make the problem worse. And some believe that a tendency toward incontinence can be inherited and only shows up later in life. But is that true? Danish researchers conducted a study and identified 6 genetic mutations associated with incontinence. But here's the catch. This only applies to incontinence in teenagers. Genes are not to blame for incontinence in older adults. So now we understand the causes of incontinence. But you may have heard that incontinence in the elderly is often caused by an overactive bladder. Let's take a closer look. What exactly is an overactive bladder? Overactive bladder is a condition that is far more common among older adults than most people think. And while it doesn't pose a direct threat to health, it can seriously affect quality of life. Even with a small amount of urine in the bladder, there's a sudden, strong urge to go, as if it were full. Both men and women suffer from this, although women are more frequently affected. How can you live with this condition? Here are 3 simple tips to help you. First, don't hold it in. If you feel the urge, go immediately. Even though a healthy adult can typically hold urine for 3 to 5 hours, depending on how much fluid is consumed and other factors, you shouldn't do this. Some say you should train your bladder by holding urine as long as possible. Is that good advice? One way to manage an overactive bladder when there's a sudden urge to urinate is through bladder training. This involves holding urine for longer, but it must be done gradually. You shouldn't try to hold it in for a long time right from day one. Start by delaying your trip to the bathroom by just 5 minutes. To do this, try to distract yourself with something. Gradually increase the time until you can hold it for about an hour and a half. This kind of training is truly effective. Which is healthier, holding it in for a long time or going to the restroom in advance just in case? Going to the restroom just in case, as many say, is a very harmful and dangerous habit for your bladder. It causes your bladder to adapt to small volumes of urine, and later, even normal volumes, when there shouldn't be any urgency, will start to trigger the urge to go. That's why you shouldn't use the restroom in advance. So, did you get it? Don't go to the restroom in advance, but also don't hold it in too long. In cases of incontinence, holding it can actually lead to urinary tract infections. When the bladder is overly full, urine becomes stagnant, creating the perfect conditions for bacteria and inflammation, like stale water in a bottle. And inflammation triggers more incontinence. Second tip, train your bladder. Try creating a toilet schedule, going no less than once every 3 hours, and stick to it. Third tip, maintain a healthy weight. Extra weight puts additional pressure on the bladder, especially in women. Follow these recommendations to improve your quality of life and reduce the discomfort of an overactive bladder. Your health matters, and taking care of yourself is never a waste of time. Of course, it's not always easy to motivate ourselves to stay healthy. We feel too lazy to exercise or train our muscles. But incontinence is not something you can ignore. Here, like it or not, you must work on reducing pressure on the bladder and strengthening muscles with special exercises. And that is the most effective way to get rid of incontinence once and for all. So what are these exercises? Let's go over them right now, including a special exercise from our expert exclusive for the channel Health and Longevity. So, which exercises help eliminate incontinence? We've selected the most effective exercises to help you regain control over urination. All you need is a bit of time and regular practice, and you can start right now. Ready? Let's go! Imagine your muscles are like an elevator. Lift it up from your pelvic floor to your belly button, then slowly lower it back down. Repeat this 10 to 15 times. Now imagine you're trying to stop the flow of urine by tightening your pelvic floor muscles. Hold the tension for 5 seconds, then relax. Repeat 10 to 15 times. The exercise will help you regain control. Now lie on your back. Bend your knees and lift your hips off the floor while tightening your pelvic floor muscles. Hold for 5 seconds, then relax. Repeat 10 to 15 times. Do these exercises regularly, at least 2 to 3 times a day. They're so simple and effective that you only need 5 minutes a day. Fit them into your routine, for example, while watching your favorite show or waiting at the bus stop. Now let's talk about Kegel exercises, the classic method trusted by thousands of women. They also help with uterine prolapse and other issues. You can do them anytime, anywhere, and no one will notice. Tighten and relax your muscles as if you're trying to stop the flow of urine. Do 10 to 15 repetitions several times a day. You can do the exercises while lying down or sitting. You need to contract and release your internal muscles. Try doing a mix of strong, long contractions, hold as long as you can, and quick 2-second squeezes. Maybe you've already tried these exercises but didn't see results. If the problem didn't go away after doing Kegels, I'll explain why. They might not be working because you're doing them wrong. Many people simply don't know how to perform the exercises correctly. Look at the screen. If you're sitting on a chair and doing Kegels, your body shouldn't lift off the seat. If it does, you're using your glute muscles, but you should be activating your internal muscles. So how do you do Kegels the right way? Here's how. Breathe in and relax everything. Then breathe out and contract. Don't hold your breath during Kegels. If you tend to hold your breath, count out loud. Do 10 repetitions per session. Consistency is the key to success. You deserve to feel confident every single day, and you can boost the effects of exercise by adding natural remedies for incontinence and adjusting your diet. Let's talk about that now. Which natural remedies help with incontinence? Sage tea. It helps strengthen the pelvic floor muscles and reduce the frequency of urination. Take 1 tablespoon of dried sage leaves, pour over a large glass of boiling water, let steep for 15 minutes, and drink half a glass 3 times a day, like tea. Nettle infusion also helps improve bladder tone and reduce incontinence. Take 1 tablespoon of dried nettle leaves, pour over a large glass of boiling water, let steep for 15 minutes, and drink in 2 servings in the morning and evening. St. John's wort tea also helps improve bladder function, thanks to its anti-inflammatory properties. Brew it the same way as the other recipes and drink twice a day. Please note, herbal teas usually have no major side effects, but they might not be right for everyone. Always listen to your body. And remember, natural remedies can help, but not always. Sometimes surgery is the only option left. Surgical treatment for stress urinary incontinence is considered when conservative methods fail. If lifestyle changes, weight loss, quitting smoking, and pelvic floor exercises don't help, or if incontinence is too severe, then we offer surgical treatment, and it is quite effective. And now, as always on the Health and Longevity channel, we'll tell you about one incontinence treatment that doesn't work, so you won't waste your time. Physiotherapeutic treatments are widely and successfully used alongside medication in cases of urge incontinence, when urgent and uncontrollable urges to urinate occur. When it comes to diet, it's important to understand some foods may cause discomfort, while others can actually help you feel better and improve the health of your urinary system. So, which foods should you pay attention to? Diet for incontinence. Here's what you should limit in your diet. Carbonated drinks, because the bubbles can irritate the bladder and trigger an urge to urinate at the most inconvenient moments. The same goes for spicy foods. If you love pepper, garlic, or mustard, think twice before eating. They irritate the urinary system. And of course, there's strong coffee, known to everyone. Caffeine can make you run to the bathroom more often than usual, and do you know why? It stimulates the kidneys to produce more urine and irritates the bladder walls, intensifying the urge to urinate. In general, try to eat a healthy diet. It's good for your age and for managing incontinence, or even if you don't have it. But don't get too obsessed with food alone. One of the biggest mistakes in treating incontinence, and not just incontinence, but many other conditions, is relying solely on diet and natural remedies. Incontinence is, if we can put it this way, a mechanical problem. So the first step in treating it is regular pelvic floor muscle exercises. Everything else is supportive therapy. It's the exercises that help improve control of your bladder. That's why, together with our expert, we've prepared a daily exercise plan and a handy cheat sheet to remind you what to do. Very soon, you'll get one more exercise from our expert, exclusively for the Health and Longevity channel. But for now, let me tell you about a Chinese secret for incontinence. So, how can you gain control over urination with Chinese medicine? It's easier than you think. Did you know that in Chinese philosophy, incontinence is seen as an energy issue? They believe that when incontinence occurs, the body's key energy becomes unbalanced. According to Chinese tradition, this imbalance may be caused by stress, bad weather, or lifestyle choices. The solution? A special pressure point. It's located 4 fingers below the knee, right in the center of the shin. Managing this point helps your kidneys work efficiently, which is very important for bladder function. Just massage it in circular motions for 5 to 10 minutes a couple times a day. And now it's the perfect time to ask, do you trust Chinese medicine, which according to various sources has existed for 2,500 to 5,000 years? Let us know in the comments. Do you want to see more Chinese remedies in our future videos? Or do you think acupressure is just a placebo? Share your thoughts below this video. And now let's move on. What else can you do to forget about incontinence? Live a healthy lifestyle. In our case, that means managing your weight, monitoring fluid intake, strengthening your pelvic floor muscles. Let me explain why maintaining a healthy weight is so important. As I mentioned, extra weight adds pressure to the bladder. Imagine holding a balloon and pressing on it from both sides. It's obvious the balloon's walls get tense from the pressure. That's exactly how excess weight presses down on the bladder. This pressure reduces its storage capacity, and you feel the urge to urinate more frequently. That's why maintaining a healthy weight is so important. Now about fluid intake. Many people with incontinence try to drink less water, thinking the less you drink, the less you'll need the bathroom. If only it were that simple. In fact, cutting fluids sharply can make things worse. Here's why. When you drink less, you disrupt your body's water-salt balance. The kidneys, liver, heart, and lymphatic system all come under more stress. You're basically forcing your body onto a water diet, which does more harm than good. Surprisingly, some studies show that increased fluid intake can actually improve incontinence symptoms because it helps normalize your body's overall fluid balance. That said, the issue of fluid restriction in incontinence is so controversial that even doctors don't fully agree. And what do you think? Should water intake be limited or not? Share your opinion in the comments, and also let us know, did you enjoy learning how the body works? Or would you rather get a magic pill in our videos without having to understand why it works? To sum up, your body needs enough fluids for your bladder to function properly. If you reduce your daytime fluid intake, Incontinence won't go away, but it is a good idea to drink less before bedtime to minimize nighttime urges. And here's something surprising. There's a type of incontinence where fluid intake doesn't matter at all. What matters is whether you're stressed or not. How do you treat stress-related incontinence? So here's our next tip. Learn to relax. Anxiety is the main cause of incontinence in most people. When we're stressed, our pelvic floor muscles tense up, leading to involuntary urination. And peeing from fear? That's a whole different story. You already know that when a person experiences intense fear or stress, the body releases adrenaline, the fight or flight hormone. Adrenaline immediately relaxes all bladder muscles, causing sudden urination. You might be surprised to learn that this reaction helped our ancestors quickly lighten their bodies so they could escape danger more easily. Stress-induced incontinence was actually a survival mechanism. But in the modern world, to overcome this, you need to learn how to relax. Here's one method that really works. Physiotherapy. Remember the scene from the movie Love and Doves, where the character played by Ludmila Gurchenko sweetly falls asleep during a therapy session? The treatment gently warms tissues, which calms the central nervous system. And I want to tell you about a product that offers a similar effect. It helps more than just relaxation. Now let's look at relaxation techniques that don't require equipment, just willingness. Here we go. Deep breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose, then slowly exhale through your mouth. Repeat this several times. Don't think about anything, just focus on your breath. And let us know, what relaxation techniques do you use? How do you manage stress? What helps you? Share your tips in the comments right now. Remember, the ability to relax is a vital part of a healthy lifestyle. You can't live in constant tension. Find what brings you peace. Walks in nature, reading, listening to music, watching water. Whatever works for you, just relax. Life can be beautiful at any age if you love yourself and take care of your health. Believe it or not, reducing your risk of incontinence and improving your health is easier than it seems. Each of you can truly change your life for the better. A friend of mine, a urologist, once said that even at 80, incontinence can go away for good if you strengthen your pelvic floor and stop worrying. So what else can you do to eliminate this problem? Keep a bladder diary. Our expert explained why it's so helpful. A bladder diary is essential for identifying underlying problems. It gives us a complete picture of urinary habits and helps confirm or rule out any associated disorders. Sometimes women report frequent urination, but thanks to the diary, we can see that they simply drink a lot of fluids and thus excrete more, and there are actually no abnormalities. A bladder diary helps you track habits and identify triggers. In simple terms, the things that set off incontinence episodes. Everyone has their own. It could be food, a specific event, people, or situations. All of them can influence your condition and cause leaks in cases of stress incontinence. Here's something else interesting. In older age, incontinence can appear without any triggers, even when everything seems calm and fine. That's because when the estrogen levels drop, it affects bladder and genital health. Imagine a house whose walls are covered in protective paint. Fresh paint gives strong protection, but over time it wears away and cracks. That's what estrogen does. It maintains the health of the bladder lining and urinary tract. But during menopause, when estrogen levels fall, the paint wears off, and the walls of the bladder become more vulnerable to irritation and damage. It's scientifically proven that female hormones play a major role in urinary control. That's why women experience incontinence twice as often as men. More than 1/3 of women over 65 experience leaks. If it's stress incontinence, you need to calm down. But if it's hormonal, you need to see a gynecologist or endocrinologist. They'll help you balance your hormones and the problem will go away. Now let me share a typical patient story about treating incontinence, straight from our expert. Statistics show that 50% of adult women suffer from urinary incontinence, but only a third of them seek help from a specialist. Unfortunately, many women believe that leakage is normal after childbirth or attribute it to aging and don't even consider discussing it with a gynecologist. Women often feel embarrassed or uncomfortable talking about this issue. But the key message we want to convey is this: incontinence is a problem that can absolutely be solved. And here's our most important advice. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There are many types of incontinence, and there's a solution for each one. The key is not to face the problem alone, no matter how old you are. Remember, age is just a number. If you take care of yourself, life can be full and joyful at 60 or even at 90. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and share the video with your friends. Your feedback means a lot to us. Let's take the next step toward a healthier life, together. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new helpful tips. And if you have questions or personal experiences you'd like to share, leave a comment below. We wish you health and longevity.